Hello and welcome to another episode of the Underhive Lorekeepers podcast. The podcast that if you combine the hairdos of both hosts, you have two normal people's haircuts. As always, I am the man with the most luscious locks in the podcasting business. That's right, I am Spamuel. And to my right, the co-host for this evening, second runner-up in the Delacroix Lookalike Competition 2025, it's Nathan. How are you, buddy?
That was actually really well done. I did see you practicing a lot before we started recording, so that's obviously what was going into that. So,
I'm actually playing a game.
Of course you are, because it's the level of
Professionalism
that you bring to the podcast.
Yep.
Way to go, season 3, off to a good start.
Shout out to the creators of Shop Titans. Fantastic game.
This is not one of those games. This is one of those games where you build a shop and people come and buy stuff from you. Yes.
Yeah.
Good lord. I don't like those games. I want a game where I'm hurting something. Anyway, maybe that's just a small window into my psyche. I don't know. So in the long-winded answer,
I guess, Happy Father's Day.
Yeah.
But yes, how are you,
I'm
buddy?
not bitter. I got such good socks. I got the best socks ever.
Oh my God. Sorry, go. I have a genuine point to make about Father's Day.
So, how am I? You're asking. I am doing very well. I am doing lots and lots of hobby stuff at the moment.
Nice.
Lots of projects on the go. And if you want to hear more about it, go to our Patreon and listen to our hobby journal. Because
yes.
both me and Sam have had a bit of a reawakening regarding that. But yeah, no, I'm eager for our episode. But I'm more eager now for your snippet of information.
So, because obviously the one thing I want for all gift occasions is Warhammer and Warhammer-related materials. So naturally, I didn't get that. What I did get was a set of Crocs.
Yep.
You got socks, I got Crocs. Nathan, I've been very vocal in my dislike of like open footwear or like footwear that feels artificial. I loved I actually lost my thongs, I don't know when, and so I just wear runners everywhere, right?
Yeah.
And my wife got me this pair of Crocs because on a Tuesday night I would forget that I have to take the bins out until like 1 o'clock every morning, and then I would run out and I'd be, because I'm gotten out of bed. I'd not be wearing shoes, so I'd slide my feet into her Crocs, and they're way too small for me. I'm basically like walking around like Tyrannosaurus with my like legs on weird angles and that. But I kept saying I should just get myself a pair of thongs or Crocs, and my wife obviously listened, so she bought me this pair of Crocs, and I tried them on this morning, and I've made a lot of questionable decisions in my life. You know that. We've known each other for many years.
Yes.
There is something about the level of comfort that you experience when you wear socks and Crocs. Nathan,
Oh.
I think I've
Crocs.
mocked you several times for wearing socks and sandals.
I don't wear socks and sandals, but that's
I'm pretty
fine.
sure you have.
Okay, all right. Well, for the purpose of your story, yes. Oh, darn you for
Socks and
ridiculing me
Crocs
so
are the
many
single
times.
most comfortable footwear decision you can make in your entire life. If any opportunity given, I will only be wearing Crocs.
And socks.
And socks.
Do you think I don't wear Crocs?
Do you not
need
own
them?
Crocs?
No.
Don't buy yourself any. I know what someone's getting for Christmas.
Hopefully not Crocs.
I'm buying you Crocs. They're so comfortable, dude.
Well, look, I just prefer alligators instead.
I will
Or
buy
gators.
you a Caradron Overlord Spearhead.
Why would you buy me that particular brand of miniature? Why would you buy me that?
Because you have complained about the fact you put together a Caradron Overlord model. because you dislike tiny people. But that's neither here nor there. It's a happy Father's Day for both of us here.
And a happy Father's Day to anybody else
yes.
who's listening as well. For all the dads out there who don't get Warhammer because their partners give the classic line of, I just don't know what you want. Do you know my friends? Do you know any of my friends? Do you have a phone number for any of my friends? Call them. Ask them.
We literally have a Facebook group. The two of us and our respective wives.
Yeah.
They can just message the other one.
Yeah.
Or what you can do is you can just go into literally any Warhammer store and say, my husband is Spamuel. And they will go, I know him.
Yeah.
I explained this to her, and she's just like, that's a lot of effort. That's just buy me a gift certificate then.
Yeah. I'm sure you can do it online these days. Just certificate up. I don't mind. Give me that. That is what I want.
Here's $100. Go buy Warhammer.
Yeah, I would take that. I would take that as well. Here's some guilt-free money. Go get your hustle on. But anyway, for all of those people in the world who are celebrating Father's Day, who don't get your Warhammer, I feel for you because I've had the argument many times. It breaks my heart as apparently I argue without logic, and that's fine. So be it. But I did, as I said, get a very lovely set of socks today, which I'm very happy
socks?
about. They're work socks, mate. Of course they're work socks.
I love a good set of work socks, though.
Oh, look, the implication is go to work. That's what I read in that. It's like, I don't quite understand why you're at home. I know it's the weekend and it's this thing called Father's Day, but here's some socks so you can go to work. But yeah, so we had a lovely day, had a good time, and all it makes me want to do is go out and treat myself with some Warhammer that I don't need because I have just piles of grey stuff. And just piles of other bits and bobs that I've collected in my time. At some stage in my life, I'm going to do an audit of everything I own. And
I would be terrified to do that.
Oh, I think so. Yeah, I'm in the same boat as well. Like, do you know what I think is going to get to me? Is I'm going to be like, I'll just check how much like tufts of grass I have, and I'll probably find like 3 or 4 of the same thing that I've purchased, where I've bought it, forgot about it, bought it again, forgot about it again, or probably bought it and gone, no, I definitely have that, but I can't find it, so I need to use it, but I need to use it now, so I'll just have to buy another set of tufts, and I've probably got like multiples of the same things. But anyway, that is very much off topic in regard to our episode. How have you been? Also, just very quickly, because you're adjusting to your return to Australia.
I am. It's great. So apart from Crocs, the Spamuel household has made another life-altering purchase. Nathan is already sick of me talking about it, but my wife and I had a little bit of money left over from our holiday fund. We'd sort of been saving for it, and naturally we sort of said, hey, what are we going to do? And my wife and myself both hate vacuuming and mopping, so we have purchased an abominable intelligence robotic vacuum. His name is Robot Business. I love him. He is my third and quite possibly my favourite child. Right now, I can look at my phone and I can see that he is currently mopping my kitchen floor. My other children, my useless flesh children, they're in bed. They're in bed snoring and probably farting. Robot Business never farts. Robot Business gets up, says, "Hey, Dad, I'm going to get my vacuum on." I'm like, "Thanks, son." Little pain in my chest knowing that my other 2 kids will never be as loyal as him. Yeah, I said it. So, my son this morning, Goblin Juve, stole my pancake. I got up to refill my coffee, came back, he'd eaten my pancake. Little turd.
So let me ask you, you've established that Robot Business is a male, and
Yep.
is one of your offspring in some way, shape, or form.
Yep, and his name is Robot Business.
Robot Business, probably the best name out of your 3 children, and at some stage you're just going to have to establish him in the hierarchy, and be like, okay, well, this is you take orders from Robot Business before you two make a decision amongst yourselves.
That's
So
correct.
you little fart monsters, because Robot Business has not recorded a single fart in the many days, months, weeks he's been working for us or been living with us. You wouldn't even regard him as as like working for you. It's more sort of like, living with you, just paying his fair share. He's
He
established
asks
the dominance.
nothing and gives everything. Honestly, now I know why. I now believe in the Omnissiah, because the Omnissiah has created the perfection that is Robot Business. All right. Me and my wife, our inferior, weak flesh, created our flesh children. Machines and their supreme divine creation have given us Robot Business. Nathan, from the moment I understood the weakness of my flesh, it disgusted me.
I just have this image of you spray painting your children in like a chrome paint or a silver paint, and just being like, be better. The part
Gang
of this,
idea.
this is gang idea. We adhere to the teachings of the Mechanicum. You've just painted yourself silver. Okay, we don't have money. Obviously, we don't have money or the capacity to have any robotic bits. But yeah, but you could have like stuck something on you. All you've done is painted yourself silver.
Yep.
Get out of my bar. Yes, right.
Listen, I get where you're coming from,
Yeah.
but you don't understand because you only have a flesh child. Yeah. All right? I will buy you a Robot Business.
Wait, are you going to buy me a Robot Business? Are you?
No.
No.
It
Okay,
was
I thought that because I
so
want
expensive.
one, but I know it's been curtailed in my house. You've talked it up so much. I've just been like, I really want one. I just want it to go about and do its business and just have fun, frolic in the lounge room and gallivant in the kitchen and stuff around near the stairs. Beautiful. But anyway, I think we're doing
I
an
got a
episode.
notification. He's finished mopping. Thank you, Robot Business. Thank you.
I think maybe in the next episode we'll try, like, obviously if it doesn't interrupt his work schedule, we'll try and get him on as a guest host.
Yeah, get him on. He can tell us about his hopes, his dreams, and no crap. I just realised this is what led to the banning of artificial intelligence. If Robot Business was like, "Hey, we should rob a bank," I'm in.
Absolutely, my favourite child.
I've cleaned your house. Now I'm going to clean up your life. You know how we start that? How, my son? We rob a bank, Dad. He called me Dad.
Yes, absolutely. He's called me father. There is no going back now. Right.
I love you, Father. I love you too, Robot Business.
All right. Well, we can go on this round,
Okay.
but I just have an image of you doing that robot voice while your family's standing around. They're just like, we know it's you. It's like, it is not. Do not diminish him. Do not diminish him. Yes.
Samuel, please stop. You're always trying to come between us.
Right. So, things to cross off. Things to cross off for the season 3 bucket list. Talk about something non-episode or Warhammer related for a good
Close to
7
an
or 8
hour.
minutes. Close to an hour. We're getting there with Robot Business. Yes,
All right. So, well, we should get into it. But if you do enjoy the show and you are interested in supporting the podcast, please shoot over to patreon.com/the Underhive Lorekeepers podcast. We are 100% funded by the goodwill of our audience, though we do this for the love of Robot Business. Each month we have a Patreon exclusive episode, as well as competitions, polls on episodes, and other content focusing on robot business. If you would like to find another way to support us, get onto our social media, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. A like, comment, and subscribe helps us grow and get our particular brand of lore out into the world. All of our links will be in the show notes, and don't forget to give us a 5-star review on your preferred robot business. So, Nathan, what are we talking about today?
Well, we're actually going to be talking about
robot business. That's
robot
right.
business. Damn right. Like you might have seen in the episode description, it has something to do with guilds. We're not talking about that. No. We have another. I think, like, legitimate. We could put into 3 hours of robot business chat. Yeah.
Done.
Yep. Let's name each one of the little brushes on his roller thing. Let's name them individually. 2. We can start with that.
He does have 2. A red one and a black one. But their names are Robot and Business.
Do you reckon he talks smack to the dirt as he sees like a particularly large bit of dirt, like as he's rolling up on it?
What are you implying about my house?
You're a filthy animal. No, not you in per se, but you do have in-house goblins.
2 useless flesh children.
Right, so what are we actually talking about?
Listen to. This will be the first episode they ever listen to in the car with their mother. And they'll just be sitting there in the car park at daycare as she's dropping them off in the morning. And they're all just sort of looking at each other in silence.
And then all they hear in the back of the car is beep bop, beep bop. I've come for you.
I'm the favourite now.
Yeah. Yes, exactly. Right. What are we talking about? You stop derailing, please.
Stop
having fun. We are revisiting our guilds episode. So I think last time we talked about the merchant guilds.
Yes.
And we talked about we did a little expose on just the air guild from the vast amount of guilds that are available. So we're going to explore a few more of them. We talked about
the glorious air guild and their secondary workplace objectives of providing oxygen to people. Obviously, why they're not all out there mastering the technologies of Zeppelin flight.
Yes, that's exactly what happened. We embraced your insanity regarding Zeppelins in... Well, you know what, in saying that, since we've talked about it, GW's been like, the Zeppelins, for sure. Like, everybody knows about the Zeppelins. But, no, we're going to get into a few of the guilds that we love. I want to find one that is necessarily robot guild related. Robot business related. And the only one I can see that would come close to paying homage to the greatest member of your family is the Makata Munda.
Okay, I don't see how you'd be doing that, but let's talk about that. Why don't you run us through the Makata Munda?
The Makata Munda, the most famous guild on Necromunda, mainly because they share a name with them.
They facilitate the purchase and sale of mundas.
Yes, on a world named after mundas. Just dead mundas, that's all. The natural resources that establish Necromunda as one of the most productive worlds in the Imperium are long played out. And so the planet's industries are fed by the recycling of encrusted wastes of countless previous generations. It is the Iron Guild that brokers deals between the mines and the forge, ensuring that a constant supply of reclaimed ores and extracted minerals reach the hives. They are the middlemen between the great mining settlements of House Orlok and the mega forges of House Goliath, among others. So the houses might never have to deal directly with each other, but may still profit from their labours and meet their quotas. Much of the resources overseen by the guild come from the ruined hives and the continent-spanning mountain range known as the Spoil. Clad in hazard suits, the guilders lead groups of prospectors and accompany clan house expeditions into perilous regions. If it is hauled out from the ash waste, or dredged up from the Underhive and sold on the iron markets, the guild gets a cut, though they prefer to get there first and make the claim themselves. Rich are then sold for the right to work a ruin or a region, and all finds are molecular branded so that not a single lump of ferrite finds its way to the hives without the guild's knowledge. So they're basically, when you have a sales team, you've worked on a sales team, yes?
I have, yes.
Yeah, yep. And you have, all the sales reps going out there, and as they make their commissions, their team leader or group leader gets a small little commission from it. And then if there's a couple of team leaders, when they get all their commissions in, their manager gets a tiny little cut from everything that's going on as well. And that's what the Iron Guild are doing. The Iron Guild are basically saying, go out there, Cordorians, go out there, Orlokians, go out there, anybody, and claim this stuff, because we want our cut, and we will have our fingers in those pies.
Because they've set themselves up literally as the only middlemen in the business. And I know we talked about the sort of the unequal level of power that the guilds seem to have on Necromunda. But the Mercatormunda, or the Iron Guild, I see them as one of the... I don't want to say useless, but they are middle management. Everyone knows that basically in any organisation, any company, there's that layer of middle management who only exist for the fact of being middle management. That's what the Iron Guild are here.
I agree with you. I'm going to cut you off early, though, before you get too ranty with it. I do know that, you were denied a job in middle management, so you are bitter about it, so I'll cut you off early.
I was and I am.
So the benefit of what I see them doing there is they are a quick and easy go-to when, say, House Orlok and House Goliath are at each other's throats.
Oh, absolutely.
So rather than going out, okay, well, we've got all these materials that we need to send to the forges because the tithe needs to be met, rather than going off and finding a mediator or an in-betweener or something like that, they simply go to the Mercatormunda and say, we need a representative here because I am not talking to that fathead with the mohawk. And the mohawk just says, well, crayon. And they're like, we can, do you know what? Our years of experience, we can translate that. That means you're ready to do a deal. We've got you. So...
Well, I understand why you cut me off, because I was getting into my Spamuel rant voice, but I was actually about to praise what they do. Because
right.
And you've actually explained it perfectly. They are completely useless on a surface level. But when you look at what they do and what they are actually managing to achieve within society on Necromunda, is they ensure the constant flow of the reclaimed ores and metals and possibly even new seams from the collection into the forges. And not to mention not just the supply, but they're also ensuring, by my guess, that the price stays at a point that doesn't affect the tithe. Because if all of a sudden the people harvesting the ore are saying, well, we want 1,000 creds per pallet instead of the 500, what's to say that the factoriums or the groups or the organisations actually creating the materials are going to be able to afford it? If they hold, or if the groups out there in the spoil, for example, digging all this stuff up, if they turn around and say, well, hold on, let's create an artificial shortage here. Let's hold off for 1 cycle, 5 cycles, 10 cycles. Let's hold off the supply or only drip feed it back in to help drive up our own price. The Iron Guild, in this particular fact, are then turning around and going, hey, idiots, we haven't gotten paid recently. The mine down the road there, they're getting us paid. The one past them, they're getting us paid.
Yep.
The ones on the other side of you are getting us paid, but you're not getting us paid. We're only getting 5 or 10 credits a minute from your mine. Why is that? we know how much you're pulling up.
Yeah.
So all of a sudden, you know, this group of Cawdorers, this group of Orlock, or whoever it is, they get that little kick in the bum of, hey, we understand you want to you want to look out for yourself. You don't like the clan houses you're selling to. We understand that, but also we don't care because you're stopping us from getting our money.
Yeah,
and also the tithe, etc., etc.
And the tithe. Do you know what? When you're describing it like that, I think of them. There's almost like another layer to them here as well, as almost like peacekeepers as well, because imagine that you've got a supplier, and that supplier says, "Oh, well, I'm not really going to supply you anymore because I've got a better client somewhere else. So I've got better opportunity somewhere else." Then you start to go, "Okay, well, I don't want to talk to this particular supplier or this one because they're too far out. They're too dangerous to get to. They're just god-awful annoying." You know what I mean?
Yes.
So I'm actually going to go to this resource-rich area of Necromunda, and I'm going to send my own crews in there. And if that means we have to gather the resources by force, so be it. We'll do that. We'll start stomping faces and gathering it by ourselves. So then it's sort of a double-edged problem there as well, because you begin to put elements in play that are going to have obvious conflict with each other, but you also potentially kill off expertise as well. People who understand what's the right quality of material to look for. So this is not necessarily Makeda Munda representatives. These are citizens who understand what is going to fetch the best price, what is going to get the best kind of taxation put onto it and so forth, and where are the best places to look, what are the places to avoid. All of those lessons that have been learnt through perhaps a lifetime of doing this resource gathering are all washed away from a slug round, a stray slug round hitting X, Y, and Z in the head. Do you know what I mean? So by being able to, I guess in a way, stabilise the market of what you're saying you need to keep up your production. Yes, you want a few more coins and so forth. Well, absolutely. Go drop off your resources, and then maybe kill the people that you dropped them off to, and then take them and sell them again. Do it that way, but bring the resources to where they can be used. Do something. Do not take this fight into the fields. Do not take this fight into the forges. Fight. Like, if you want more money, there are other ways to do it, rather than, as you said, creating this, false shortage or false... Is that what did you say?
An artificial, like, they are effectively...
an artificial shortage, I think.
An artificial shortage, creating an artificial demand of what they're really trying to sell.
Yeah, exactly. So don't do it down that pathway. And I could see the Makeda Munda doing that, saying, okay, we're maintaining the peace because the peace maintains the tithe. And at the end of the day, if the tithe's not being met because the resources aren't coming to the forges, then that's when the noble houses come down on top of the guild. And more important, it goes right up the food chain. The imperial house will come down, and then on top of that, there's the administratum side of the imperium coming down on top of the imperial house. So the cog in the machine that is the Makeda Munda is so important, because it needs to keep that machine ticking over, but it also needs to be the mediator in a lot of these situations as well, saying, okay, yes, House Goliath is screwing you over. We can see that. Everybody can see that. They are deliberately trying to hurt your system, your processes, your production of whatever you're producing. So we're going to help you facilitate some sort of action against them. But we're going to do it in our way. So I could almost see them as like advisors, rather than just coming in as bean counters and going, okay, you dropped off 2,000 tons of, or 2,000 kilos worth of material, and you got paid this much. Fantastic. We take our cut. Blah blah blah. See you on your next drop. They're going to come in and say, okay, well, you dropped off 2,000 kilos of resource. We need to understand why you're not getting paid as much, because we're not getting paid as much, or it's not getting turned into what it needs to get turned into. So where is the issue? Where is the problem? And you can see, I almost see them as these individuals who understand the synergies that are required between the gang houses and how to play those. Not necessarily to the benefit of the guild, but the benefit of the system. So how do we keep this system running to a good point of efficiency where we're also the most vital part of that process?
Yeah. We talk about this every episode. It's probably not every episode, but it feels like every episode, where every gang thinks, or every house, every group on Necromunda sits there and thinks to themselves, man, we could just kill everyone and we would win. We would be absolutely fine. And no one could stop us. And you're just sort of like, yeah, that's a really great thought, except you genuinely cannot control the planet with just yourself. Like, everyone, it is so... incestuous is the wrong word. Parasitic, I want to say. It's so reliant on everyone else. Everyone is sucking the nutrients from everyone else they have to interact with. You can't have, for example, Vansar. We are the greatest house on all of Necromunda. We are the smartest, most technologically advanced.
I was going to say, and the worst parasites, but yes, continue.
Yes, okay. The most technologically advanced, and we are absolutely fine. And we can survive everything, except if we stop having positive relationships with the Escher, they won't supply us with the chemicals that stop us from turning into enormous tumours. And, we have to get the specialist materials from Delark that we also use, and also then we harvest the tech gangers from all these minor settlements out in the waste, and okay, so we kind of do need everyone. What about the Goliath? We're the biggest and the strongest and the toughest and the angriest, and we're definitely the smartest, and we have the best crayons. But we hate those Escher. We hate the Escher, but they do supply us with all of our growth hormones.
Yes.
Oh, damn. Well, the Delark, we are the sneakiest and we know the most about everyone, and we're definitely the toughest. We're the toughest. And but we need the Vansar for all of the technology that we use that they supply for us. And we need the Escher, I'm assuming, for olive oil and eggs to make all the mayonnaise. And we need it's all of a sudden they sit there and go, we can do everything by ourselves. But also the Orlok, I guess we have the coolest bandanas. We are the most present on Jeans for Jeans Day.
We
are the most present for Jeans for Jeans Day, but everyone is so incredibly reliant on everyone else, and the Iron Guild, I think, ensure that reliance that is actually repeated so many times with this, where the Guild of Iron needs to get it through to make everything, but it also needs to go to the Guild of Bullets, and then the Guild of Water. They're going to need ore to fix water tanks. The Air Guild are going to need it because for oxygen tanks and the hulls of Zeppelins. The Corpse Guild are going to need it for forks. The Electro Guild, they're going to need the copper because they're also going to need to run electrical cables. And, the Guild of Coin, duh, they make coins out of metal. But, all of these things where it makes me so angry because the Guild of Iron, I genuinely think, are they're the most useless. But at the same time, I'd say they're most likely if not the most important guild, I would put them at second.
So look, I agree with a lot of what you're saying, but I guess the outside looking in, they look useless, and that is because the synergies that you're talking about that need to happen are a well-known fact. Even the dumbest Goliath knows that I'm not going out to the spoil to gather those resources. I'm staying inside the forge. This is home. This is safe. I'm staying here. So that maintenance of that house and guild and noble house synergy is sort of like an unwritten rule amongst everybody. Yes, we will fight with each other and we will try to assert dominance and claim settlements and so forth. But when they claim a settlement, they're not wiping out the local Vansar hub or the local Delacroix hub. They're keeping those things because those things are important to the maintenance of the settlement, to the ongoing usefulness of that settlement within the makeup of Necromunda. So
I think it's less of a wipe them out. It's more of a remind them who's in charge now.
yeah. So, but that's what I'm saying. They're not going to wipe them out. They're not going to go and try and stop them out completely because they understand there is a certain element that they need of that group. That's why they do seem useless. The Makeda Munda, because you're like, look at them and you're like, yeah, everybody knows this rule. But they're the ones that keep it ticking over. They're the ones that stop the hotheads. They're the ones that stop the greedy. They're the ones that, put the kibosh on the particular religious nutters who go, no, this is sacred iron now, or this is sacred resources. So,
Yes.
that belongs to us, and it is a gift from the Emperor, and we will only take it to X, Y, and Z forges, and we will only have it blessed. And the Iron Guild steps in and goes, no. Can it, crazies, okay? Like, I love your work. You're fantastic, and we need you here. Actually, probably don't, but we do need you here. We'll say that. But you are going to take this resource gathering process that you've done, and you're going to take it to this forge because this forge needs to produce weapons for this particular part of the tithe. And if that doesn't happen, there are inquisitors and there are administratum who are going to come down particularly hard on us because we haven't achieved what we were supposed to do. Now, the other thing that I can see them doing is maintaining the levels of power that are established here as well. So
yes.
Because
yes.
let's say hypothetically, House Goliath become the dominant in a particular region or a particular settlement, and they start putting the kibosh on everybody. They start putting their foot on the throat of so many of the other gang houses. That will only lead to the other gang houses going, we need to stand up against this. But if House Goliath were to become powerful and have the right word in the ear where they're saying, okay, yes, you don't like House Escher, but you're going to give them enough power that they think of themselves as the top dogs here. They need to consider themselves quite powerful, and the understanding factor is that they can never go toe to toe with your gang house, but make them feel like they can do it. Because we need whatever they're producing, whatever they're doing to help us maintain our buddy boys over at Vansar so they can maintain the technology that's being used to capture or to harvest a particularly difficult resource or ore or whatever to gather. We need the Vansar, so henceforth we need the Escher. But you don't want to have them so browbeaten that they are looking for a way to rise themselves up, but you also don't want to have them so powerful that they can see themselves as the heirs to the throne of this, supposed Goliath rule. So you need to maintain this perfect balance, and that's where I can see the Iron Guild coming in, because they understand the intricacies of everything that's going on. They're not like the Air Guild. They're not worried, okay, it's about survival and making sure people breathe and all that. They're doing something more important. They're maintaining the tithe. In an effect, they're maintaining the tithe. So they need to play all of these things at the same time. And if I were to build a gang based around the Iron Guild, I wouldn't build it as like a delegation. I could see them almost as, they operate in maybe 1s, 2s, 3s sort of thing. And they attach themselves to particular houses and particular gangs. And they say, we need a bodyguard from you because we need to go down to Sector Gamma 3 because House Orlok has not responded.
Before we do get too deep into the gang ideas and that sort of stuff, there are two other parts I really want to touch on. The first being the part you read there about how... if it is hauled out from the ash waste or dredged up from the Underhive and sold on the iron markets, the guild gets a cut. though they'd prefer to get there first and make the claim themselves. So obviously they've also got prospectors going out there and basically saying, I imagine planting the flag or the standard that shows the logo of the Iron Guild, and when other prospectors get there, they basically know, okay, this isn't just some house gang, this isn't some independent or any nonsense like that. That's a guild. That's the guild. I can't screw with them here. I think that's great. That's going to be my gang idea later on. But writs are then sold for the right to work a ruin or region, and all finds are molecular branded, so that not a single lump of ferrite finds its way to the hives without the guild's knowledge. I'm imagining them putting tiny little tracking chips or like microprocessors on there, or even just like something like when you buy something from like a clothes shop or whatever, and there's a little magnetic tag that's sewed into the clothing. I'm imagining they're sticking like one of those on there, and you can just imagine these sort of like inspectors going through these little back like outside waste settlement marketplaces, and this guy's just got this big, like, I'm picturing like a basically like the Queen Victoria Market's fruit, like the fruiterers. Yeah. And they've got the baskets of like dates or apples or pears or whatever, and this guy's picking up and being like, oh yeah, this is guild sanctioned iron, isn't it? And the guy's like, yes, my friend, yes, it's definitely sanctioned by the guild. And he waves his little scanner over it. He goes, you're a liar. And then naturally they shoot that man.
Of course, yes. And very much how the health inspectors work in Victoria.
Yes, just like how the health inspectors work here. But they then seize the iron and sort of go from there. I just think it's a great, what's the word I'm looking for? It's a great idea because you can just imagine like cold traders and rogue traders and that bringing in shipments of like unlicensed iron or unlicensed copper, and this whole like, oh, what's going on here? Like, I just think that
it would make sense. Sorry, you got me thinking about something of rogue traders and merchants going, Necromunda needs resources.
Yes.
So if we've raided something, if we've stolen something, if we've taken from the supply facilities of a particular forge, and we know we can't get this off, we can't sell this anywhere on our planet. We're going to load it up onto a cargo vessel. We're going to ship it over to Necromunda, and we are just going to sell it en masse. And we don't have to sell it like for maximum profit. Just move it, and that is, I guess, that would be seen as a clear and open threat to the Iron Guild as well. Of saying, okay, there is somebody here trying to ship illegal ores and illegal resources, and we're going to track them down. Wow! Ooh, now I've got another gang idea. Yes. Okay. Cool.
Yeah. Can you imagine? Can you imagine them, like bringing it through? And you could really play this up as a cool sort of like mission or a campaign section where maybe the Iron Guild is getting gangs together to sort of raid a, whether it be a what's the word I'm looking for?
Storage facility?
Like a storage unit, or they're chasing what's the word I'm looking for? Smugglers and that sort of thing. Going to be a cool. Maybe you're trying to defend the smugglers getting the iron off the table, while the ones that have been licensed by the Iron Guild are attacking said smugglers. Like, yes.
I like that gang idea. That's really cool. Not gang idea. I love that game idea. That's really
I think that'd
cool.
Be a lot of fun.
And you would have the gang would want to kill the Iron Guild representatives, because if it's shown that they're trading with off-worlders and trading in, for use of some illegal ore, then they are going to be branded as criminal gangs straight away. like
Yes.
just straight off the bat. So if you don't take out of action each one of these particular members of the Iron Guild, then your gang going into the next game becomes an outlaw gang straight away.
Yeah.
You know,
Oh, I really like that.
That's really cool, man. Like, I'm loving the idea of them having to. So we've obviously developed a lot of an idea with them, but the idea of them having to combat off-world trading on Necromunda. You know what I mean? And it's not saying don't come and trade here in your resources and the ores and so forth. It's saying when you do come and trade here, you're not going to our door first. You know, and we're going to tag all your material. We're going to go through it all, and then it'll be fine. And I'm assuming it would happen on Necromunda, where there would be resources brought in off planet to help maintain their processes. But obviously they'd try and draw from their own planet first and foremost. So you can see there'd be multiple levels to the Iron Guild as well. There would be those who would deal with the gangs, and those who would deal with the noble houses, those who would deal directly with the Imperial House, those who would deal with the forgers, and so like you may have people who are dealing with House Goliath as their proxy or their representative from the guild, but then there would be those who deal with the forgers and the production of what the forgers are doing as well. Because I still have it in my head that the Iron Guild would eat dirt if the tithe was short. You know, they would be the ones.
Well, that's the thing. The guilds are they're facilitators. They are literally there to facilitate the collection of or management of said resource. This is another one where the Iron Guild is very different to everyone else. Like, if you look at the other guilds, you know, the Air Guild, the Slaves Guild, all of that sort of stuff, they are all simply facilitators of the transport and management of resources. Like, the Guild of Coin is all about money. The Chronos is calendars, obviously electricity, water is water, etc, etc, etc. But the Guild of Iron are simply there to facilitate the ongoing trade of a resource. That's it.
Yeah. But I can see them having this level of complexity that they would need. They would have inspectors, and they would have, you know, multiple. They'd almost have like ranks and so forth within their guild of highest ranking members who are just like, you know, on the street, who go around and they listen for what's the talk on the street. You know what I mean? And they interact with the local citizens and so forth. And so there'd be multiple tiers and layers. But exactly what you're saying, the whole end result is ensuring that resource gets to forge. You know?
Yes.
Because if resource doesn't get to forge, weapons don't get made, material or tanks don't get made. Henceforth, we don't get our tithe met. And if we don't get our tithe met, the Helmwalls cop a kick in the teeth. And if they cop a kick in the teeth, as I said earlier, it all rolls downhill from there. So,
perfect.
I think they are such an integral part of the workings, the everyday workings of, and it's beyond the workings of what Necromunda needs. It's what the Imperium needs. And I know I'm going a bit grand here, but it's the truth of the matter. Like, if the Imperium wasn't requesting the tithe, the Iron Guild probably don't really have a place here.
No.
Yeah. And the only reason they maintain an income is so they can maintain the services they provide to the Helmwalls of saying, we are going to make sure your forges never run dry.
Exactly. Exactly. But the other part I wanted to sort of go on about before we started getting into the gangs for this idea are the benefits of an alliance with the Iron Guild. So it is a strong alliance to House Delark, which is weird, but they have a special rule and benefit called guns, guns, guns. Now, this is actually awesome. While the gang is allied with the Iron Guild, reduce the rarity of all trading post ranged weapons by 2. In addition, the cost of trading post range weapons is reduced by D3 times 10 credits to a minimum of 5 credits. If the player wishes, the gang can roll to test the alliance and reduce the cost of trading post range weapons by D3 times 20 credits to a minimum of 5 credits. Now, if you're a House Delark player and you're allied to the Iron Guild, you test it, you roll, D3, you're possibly wiping 60 credits off the cost for ranged weapons, and, you don't have to test the alliance that first time. So you know that you've got a fair bit of cash behind you and you want to make a couple of really big purchases. You test that alliance, baby, and you're possibly saving yourself 60 credits. Like, that's
crazy.
Massive.
Yeah.
Like...
That is huge.
Yeah.
So, yeah, because they can test it, can't they? And they can just go straight up there because we have that strong affiliation with them, yeah?
Correct, yeah.
Yeah,
so instead of possibly running the risk of breaking the alliance and getting in trouble with them, it's basically just sort of like, listen, guys, we're going to go ahead and do this. And the Iron Guild is sitting there going, oh, these dickheads. Yeah, all right. Yep, just hurry up, instead of being angry about it.
Yeah.
But the Iron Guild don't give you a delegation. This is one thing I don't like about them.
Yeah.
I know, like, the Fire Guild give you all the crazy guys with fire. The Slavers Guild give you the slaver and the pit fighters and that sort of stuff. The Iron Guild give you a group of wandering scum. So while the gang is allied with the Iron Guild, in the pre-battle sequence, the gang may attempt to add D3 plus 2 hive scum to their gang for the battle ahead. No matter what, this is basically turning any gang into a mini Cawdor gang, where you can just randomly bring a whole bunch of just absolute turds with just super basic gear.
Yeah.
And I think this is great. Can you imagine adding just 5 extra bodies to your gang? Like, I don't care what gang you are. You bring 5 extra activations.
Yep.
You are loving life. Even if you just bring... No, you're getting a minimum of 3.
So if you bring 3 with just pistols, just stub pistols or auto pistols or something...
Yeah.
But I can't remember what weapon you said they were equipped with, but just if you give them a basic pistol... Mate, they're still a nuisance. It takes just one roll of a skull, and that's it, baby. You've killed a prize ganger.
So you get hive scum, and for example, in the House of Shadows here, a hive scum, you get up to 60 creds worth of weapons and war gear. Now, because it's a thrown-in fighter, I believe you don't... Obviously, you're not going to pay that 60 credits to bring them with you, but... From 60 credits, you've got basic weapons, autogun, reclaimed autogun, las gun, sawn-off shotgun, shotgun with solid and scatter ammo, throwing knives, pistols, auto pistols, reclaimed auto pistols, labs pistols, stub guns with dum-dum rounds, then close combat weapons. I'm not going to go through everything. But with 60 credits... You could... Okay, let's just do it. Go a las gun for 15 credits. Let's go a las pistol for 10 credits. That's 25 so far. Yep. Let's throw in a... I don't know.
Give him a grenade.
The grenade. Yeah, okay, you know what? Let's chuck blasting charges on there for 35 credits. There's 60 credits worth of gear. Or you can give them, a las gun and then mesh armor and then a las pistol. Like, you can really deck these guys out as just a good thorn in any gang's side.
Look, I know my experience with using House Escher. It's just three lasses equipped with las guns is god awful. People just go, I don't want to wander out there because I'm then going to get pinned. There's a chance you could wound them, chance you could kill them. So you're getting 3 of these for free, basically. And just saying, plonk them there, 3 las guns or 3 auto guns, just cover that field. Yeah.
Perfect. You sit them somewhere and just go, these 3 absolute turd burgers are going to stand here and just shoot at anyone. That's their whole job. I don't care if you kill them. They are nothing to me.
Yeah. They are completely useless add-ons to my gang, and once a game is done, they're done. But this sort of reiterates my point of what I was saying before about that there wouldn't be a delegation. Do you know what I mean? These are just part of the community, and they're sort of like, one of these high scum is actually taking notes of everything that's going on with your gang and
Correct.
what you're doing. And it's just like taking his notes, he fights, whatever, and then boots off. But everybody's getting their little cut out of the Iron Guild. And there would be people much further up the ranks going, okay, come and give us some information about what your gang, what this particular gang has been doing. But yeah, no, that's the addition of even 2 extra members to a gang is huge. But if you can get up to 5, holy moly.
Yeah. Yeah. Like, and it's funny, like, because they obviously deal with the metal from the spoil and the dead hives and that sort of stuff, but they're obviously also in charge of the bullets and weapons and sort of the trading of those sort of things throughout the house.
Yeah, of course.
One of the drawbacks for the Iron Guild is called militia surplus, and this actually sucks. During the post-battle sequence, when updating the gang's roster, any weapons or war gear carried by dead fighters, an example, those who have died in the game as a result of a critical injury, must be given to the Iron Guild. Now, the gang can choose not to give the dead fighters weapons or war gear, but if they do, they must roll to test the alliance. So the last thing you want is to lose your champ with your heavy bolter or your las cannon or...
Well, that's what you run the scum forward. You're just like, let them get shot.
Well, that's exactly it. Like, get them into combat and then keep your guys back a little bit because, man, you don't want to lose your big weapons, because that's anyone. That could be your leader, your champion.
So are they dead, or are they just critical injured? Like,
if they're dead...
Like a proper dead?
Those who have died in the game or as a result of a critical injury after the game. Yeah, okay. Yeah,
right.
It must be given to the... Yeah, if they die...
Yeah. They're done. And you lose their gear. I love that. I could see like a gang going, we lost old, Gary Two Legs up there, and famous for having 2 legs.
Yep.
And he was our las cannon sniper. And okay, go recover his equipment. We'll find somebody else to use it. And then it's like the shadows start moving. It's all these representatives of the Iron Guild are just like, no. That doesn't belong to you anymore. That's part of Necromunda.
No. That's it. That's ours now, buddy.
Yeah. It's like it's hit the floor of our planet, and it's become a resource. So
it's I guess the Iron Guild guy sitting there going like you're catching a cat going puss 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 puss. He's just like less. Come on, give me that slug.
Somebody brand it.
Oh, it's ours now. Sorry,
Time
buddy.
to get melted down and turned into a las cannon. Yeah.
So I interrupted you very rudely before. What was your gang idea for the
I changed
Iron
it
Guild?
in that time. In that time, so when we started talking about Offworld coming in, so the original gang idea was having very much like the Hive Scum. So they just basically they attach themselves to particular operations that are going on, and they just flit around the peripherals of what the operation is, always with a mind of maintaining the best interests of the Iron Guild. That was the first gang idea. Not bad. Well done, Nath. But what my brain started to go down the pathway of is having a more militant type group, and these are almost like a militaristic arm of the Iron Guild, which deals specifically with anything off-world. The DEA, that's what I'm creating.
Yeah.
The DEA agents focusing on not drugs and alcohol or anything like that, but on illicit ores and I guess what else? Other materials that are being brought into Necromunda, and so they deal a lot from the Eye of Selene. They try and they have informants. They have people on the ground who are constantly telling them of trades and deals and whatever else is going on, and almost having like another tier that they deal with on the Eye of Selene. They're like, this ship is not to leave. This ship brought 5,000 tons of illegal ore to Necromunda that has already been distributed. We know it's gone. We can't track it, but we know it was them. So they're not moving.
Yeah, nice.
And so this gang would be basically the Iron Guild representatives going off and tracking down anybody coming in off-world. So off-world specialists is what they do. Shooting them up. Like just destroying anybody who they encounter because they're not citizens of Necromunda either. So they're fair game. And if a rogue trader says, well, now you're fair game, it's like, bring it on. Take on the tithe. That's what we're going to suggest to you. Because if you damage the guild, you damage the capacity of the tithe. And now you have a bigger problem because we haven't met our quota. So they would be fearless, completely fearless. It doesn't matter who you are, whatever. You're an Inquisitor and you brought in, 10,000 kilos of illicit ore or ore that you snatched from some world that was being overrun. And you're like, well, we can go send that to Necromunda. And they might have done it in good faith. Send it to Necromunda, didn't understand the channels. No, Mr. Inquisitor. You need to answer to the guild. You have a chance to do the right thing here, the correct thing, that you may not have understood what to do. But you also pay a penalty for sending out our enforcers to go do this.
Yeah. That. You can just imagine it'd be like obviously you have local law enforcement being, for example, the enforcers, but then you have the arbos above them. You can almost imagine the legal hoops that the local law enforcement, in this case with the Iron Guild, would be putting on rogue traders and different merchants and that sort of thing, because it's like, oh yeah, I understand you've paid the imperial tithe to bring metallic materials onto the planet, but then once you come past the Eye of Selene, you need to realise that depending on how far you travel, obviously because you come down to Hive Primus, but then moving from there, there's different regional and dome taxes. Unfortunately, you haven't paid them. So if and I'm going to do you a favour here, I'm going to try and make this easy on you. We're keeping your ship. And yeah, you're being executed. But it'll be quick. I'm really sorry, bud.
And they would go around and they do that molecular branding of stuff. So you would have a specialised brander in there who would come along and have like all this tech equipment and so forth. Because of the molecular branding I see is sort of like a nanotechnology pumped into the ore or into the iron or whatever is being brought to the planet. And so you'd have this specialist who just does that. You're almost like, your classic sort of specialist type role. You'd have you'd have a big lad who's all muscle. You would have I don't know what rank to give them, but like the detective senior or whatever, who would simply sit there and go, I work out the numbers, I work out everything. You'd have like an accountant as well who works out exactly what the particular rogue trader owes and says, well, we know how much you're worth. So unless you come back to Necromunda and deliver this to us, you're dead in the water. But we don't think you can do that. So we're actually going to, as you said, we're going to take your ship. We're going to do. You can go find it on the ship. That's fine. We're taking your ship. So we're going to bring it down and we're going to scrap it. Because we need those resources more than we need a ship, and they keep continuously do that. And one of the keys. This would be a great way of just taking the best weapons. Just take it. I don't want to go down this pathway, but I'm pretty sure they'd have to be Venators. They would have to be Venators because they would get sexy equipment. They would get really cool armor. They would all be very individualistic and all very unique as well in the way that they look, because I can imagine that there wouldn't be this necessarily uniformity within the Iron Guild that says all of our officers and all of our people need to look like this. It would be, no, as long as we're getting the job done, this is your team, this is your specialist, DEA team, or what is it, or resources and, I don't know, something else. They'd just be called OR officers. Yeah. OR officers, yes. OR and resource officers, yeah. Yeah. So...
Call them orcs, OR and resource certifiers.
Certifiers, yeah, orcs, yeah, orc teams, yeah, beautiful, love it. So there'd be orc officers, and they would, their role is 90% of their role is to ensure that off-world doesn't impact the status quo of the on planet.
Nice.
That would be my gang idea. Now, did you have a gang idea, sir? No? No, it's
No, I kind of want
pretty
to talk
smooth.
about those prospectors. It is very similar to yours, except mine would be more in the ash wastes.
Oh, yeah.
Where I'm guessing you've seen Mad Max Fury Road.
I have, yes.
You know the fella, the from the bullet farm. He's got like all the bullet charms down his clothing and all that sort of thing. There, yeah, I imagine basically a mixture of what you're saying, but a lot more ramshackle looking, a lot of leather clothing, sort of, rebreathers, gas masks, that sort of thing. Lots of bullets hanging from them, lots of metallic charms, lots of little things like that. I just think that would be... It is basically just a different skinned version of yours.
Like enforcers, basically, going out there
Basically,
and
enforcers. In fact, that's perfect. You do them as like a bad zone enforcers.
Oh, yeah.
And because they'd have the scum, the indentured, it's not the indentured scum, like the deputised scum members with them. Yeah, that's perfect.
Do you know what, as well, with these gangs, both, and we are talking similar veins, with both, you would go a lot more ballistic weapons, so a lot less energy weapons, because
No energy weapons at all.
Because it's all about, like, we want to make more shell casings, we want to make more physical ammunition, we don't want just charging battery packs and stuff like this. Everybody, like, you fire autoguns, you fire bolters, you fire heavy bolters and heavy stubbers and that kind of stuff. Nobody's firing plasmas and melters and any of that nonsense. We fire actual bullets. Yeah. So, and with what you're saying there with your gang, I can imagine them being... This is more to what I was speaking about before. They've sent a single member from the Iron Guild out there and said, you need to make sure this operation is doing what it needs to do. Recruit who you need, grab what you need, do what you need. Do you know what I mean? So there's no specialist task force like they are with the Orcs officers, but it's more sort of like an individual... There's almost a blank check for you. Go forth, make this happen.
I'm also now picturing like a tabard made of shell casings that have all been linked together.
Yes.
Or bandoliers, like just bandoliers. But lots of auto guns. Not really stuff like bolt guns and that, because I'm picturing them pressing their own ammunition on the road.
Oh, yeah, fair enough.
So, lots of auto guns, slug guns, lots of sort of very custom pieces, but nothing that would be affected by the sand or the ash or the dust. Real reliable, like that... It's like the Armageddon Orc Hunters, how they would steal Orc weapons.
Yeah.
It's not just for the fact that the weapons they steal from the Orcs definitely kill their enemies, but an Orc doesn't respect the sound of a lasgun. An Orc isn't scared of it. They want, and the Orc Hunters personify that sort of brutal nature of the Orcs, but in a humane version of it. They feel the kick, the noise, like the heavy ability of a Orc weapon or an auto gun, because worst case scenario, you can hit them with it and you're not going to jar anything out of place. A las gun, one of your mirrors goes the wrong way and all of a sudden you're firing out disco balls. Like,
No, I get that. And what you're talking about there with the tabard made of like spent shell casing and stuff like that, so I can imagine them using those to make more bullets, but one of the things, if a member dies or is killed in the field, it is so important to recover everything off them. We go back out into that field and we grab you have to grab their tabard. You have to, these members are stripped down to nothing left on them. Nothing metal, iron, or whatever is left on them at all. It is all taken off.
Yeah, perfect.
And they can be left with their rags, their skin, their whatever else you're wearing is fine, leathers, but even belt buckles and all that is all just stripped off. And it becomes almost like a ceremonial process of everything is taken away from this person. Almost like you run a magnet over the top of them to find out if there's anything left. But yeah, I could really see that happening, and being a ward of the tabard becomes such an important part of an elevation to the next part of where you belong within this gang. So it's, you might have started as just some little toe rag trying to get a little bit of money out of the Makeda Munda, but by the end of it, you're almost like, I can't help myself, I've gone religious now, but by being presented this tabard, you're almost like a priest of iron. You're going out there, and your mission is, yes, to maintain the rules and edicts and guidelines that the Makeda Munda are setting, but more importantly, it is about paying homage to the all, paying homage to the resource, and ensuring that resource is respected and treated correctly. And if that means taking 1,000 lives, it means taking 1,000 lives, because to pray upon the altar of iron is more important than anything else. Now, I'm a religious nut.
That's phenomenal.
I'm a religious nut. I can't help myself. This is, if you listen to our latest hobby diary, guys, I've don't know why it hasn't dawned on me sooner.
We do go into it.
I do go into it. I don't know why I don't do Quarter. I should be doing Quarter or Redemptionist. But yeah, no, I like your gang idea. It would be a different way of having what I was talking about, like agents who go there, and they have to be a little bit, my gang would have to be a little bit more, I want to say professional, but I don't really mean professional, but more, I know, coordinated and so forth, because they maybe get one shot at this off-worlder, you know what I mean? They get one opportunity, one shot to take them down, to get their fair chunk of their flesh, their pound of flesh from them, whereas the gang you're talking about is more focused on, there is an encampment there that's doing the wrong thing. We are going to make their life hell, and they're going to understand that crossing the Iron Guild, or just putting things ever so slightly out of jar for the Iron Guild, is the worst decision they could have ever made.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love it.
I love it too.
Damn.
That's good. We're on fire. Look at us go.
Yeah, not doing too bad at all. Well, speaking of fire, what we are going to talk about now is another glorious guild. And just because I'm a bad person, we are going to talk about the Makeda Sanguis.
The Water Guild.
Slave Guild.
Oh, right. Yep, sorry.
Within the brutal hierarchy of the Hive, there are those who are not fortunate enough to be born into the servitude of one of the clan houses. These people are little more than serfs, resources with no more rights than a servitor. They are bought and sold by the million, claimed as the spoils of war, ownership of them sometimes changing without them even realizing. The Slave Guild oversees all such transactions, from the selling of individual chained gangs, enslaved gangers who do only their master's bidding, to trading ownership of entire manufactorums, which come with their workers included. It's actually a very good deal. The rattle of chains and cages heralds the arrival of the Slave Guild, its agents always carrying hefty lengths of chain or complex shackle webs with which to transport their goods. When a ganger is sold to the guilders, it is to the slavers they go, the guild specialising in finding the right buyer for such merchandise, whether it is working the forge, fighting in the pits, or sold to an uphiver as a curiosity. The Slave Guild also holds dominion over much of the Hive's gambling and gladiatorial combat. Some houses, most notably House Goliath, have heavy stakes in such enterprises, but even they must deal with the slavers if they want to see their champions reach the arena. Pit slaves are highly valuable commodities in most hives, each one augmented with cyber weaponry, psycho-conditioning, and extensive combat training. Most hive settlements have an arena or fighting pit, ranging from gleaming gladiatoriums of the upper hive to actual pits lined with rusting spikes in the depths of the underhive. These locations make for the focal points of a community, people gathering to watch executions and bloody pit fights, and the guild is always there to take their cut. Okay, so
just
no. Before we do anything beyond that read,
yep,
I need to make our stance on what we're about to discuss very clear, okay? Because I have a tendency to go overboard and throw myself into what we're saying. And I occasionally say things, Nathan, I occasionally say things that are a little bit silly, that might upset people. I'm occasionally a little bit of the dumb.
Well,
And
look, I mean, your stance on flavoured milk, dogs, and middle management is very, very poor.
it's not. But my stand, in fact, I'm going to make an official podcast statement here.
Are you now? Okay.
At the Underhive Lorekeepers podcast, we are against slavery. We don't like it.
That is not what we discussed pre-show. Great. Cool. You've thrown the whole thing out.
Pre-show, we literally discussed me playing Shop Titans. You specifically told me to stop it. But, okay. I've made my point. You had
We are
something to say?
anti-slavery. I do. When it says, and the guild is always there to take their cut, does that actually mean when they're doing the executions, they're the ones doing the cutting?
Excellent point. We'll discuss that later, but I believe so, yes.
Yes. All right. Cool. That makes sense. That's all I really want to discuss about that, Reed. I'm pretty good with that now.
So we're anti-slavery, but
You say it in a way that if somebody was to second guess you on that, I think there's a case for it. Like you're like, we're anti-slavery.
I am going to flip-flop on this topic harder than Magikarp fighting Pikachu, all right?
I don't
Pokemon
understand
reference?
that
I'm
reference.
shocked
Yeah,
you
I
don't get
don't.
that.
I don't know Pokemon.
In this particular setting,
Yes.
like, slavery in all shapes and forms is reprehensible. It's one of the single most disgusting acts humans can do.
Yep.
But it makes sense on Necromunda, doesn't it?
It makes sense in 40k, doesn't it?
It makes sense within the Imperium as a whole.
Yes, it does. Yep.
Like...
It's sort of expected within the Imperium. It's like, you have a world without slaves? Ooh, you're teetering on heresy there. We're going to need to sort you out.
Do you not like prophets?
Yeah.
Like,
do you,
not-
do you
not
regularly
your-
miss your tithe?
Yeah.
Like-
And I get it, 40k is like it's a parody of, capitalism and the evils of democracy and all that sort of stuff. It genuinely sucks where it's just like, hey, there are people who were born and they aren't owned by a clan house. Man, it must suck to be them. Imagine not even being a person and the drudges are sitting there just going, excuse me? There is literally a channel on the Voxcast called Drudge Hunt. And you're saying, we're lucky? So, now, all humour aside,
Yep.
when it comes to Necromunda, I love the Slave Guild because they, in my mind, I have to say they're probably, I think I said this earlier, top one or top two, not only most influential, but most important guilds. Literally across the entirety of Necromunda, if not the entirety of the Imperium.
No.
What?
And you want to know? Yep, no. And my theory on that is you take something like the Guild of Iron, right? Or the Iron Guild or the Mercator Munda, right? They are a needed commodity. They are negotiators. They are the ones that make resources turn into weapons and so forth because they facilitate those actions and those interactions, right? The Slave Guild. Without a Slave Guild, they're still slaves. It's probably not as coordinated and as probably streamlined, but all the noble houses and all the gang houses would still have slaves. All worlds outside of Necromunda would still have slaves. There would be still the capacity to have slaves. Just the slave guild, they add a layer of administration and business to it that is probably not being looked at by individuals and organisations that just say we need, 7,000 workers, but we don't want to pay anything, and we want to be able to dispose them.
But you would have to purchase the slaves.
No, I'm saying like a wage. We don't want to pay the wage.
Yeah.
We want to pay.
Well, you're feeding them. That's kind of a wage.
Yeah, they should be grateful. Yes, you're right. I understand your point of view, Sam. No, we don't want workers. We want slaves because once we're done doing what we're doing, we're going to get rid of them and we can sell them on. They become, a commodity for us. They become something that we can turn into profit. So I think the slave guild definitely is very, very important on a place like Necromunda. If you didn't have them, there'd definitely be a lot more chaos. But I don't think I think they would not be missed if they weren't around in the first place. They're probably more missed now that like the infrastructure's in place to have a slave guild. But without them on other planets and other parts of the Imperium, I don't think they're needed.
I disagree entirely.
I know, because you're right.
I have sources to back me up. So
Mustard,
barbecue, ranch,
Yeah.
mayonnaise.
But actually, do you know, the slight derail here. Would you ever...
Not on this show.
No, not on these two consummate professionals show. No chance. Would you ever put mustard on a pie?
Yes.
I think it's the most disgusting thing you could ever do.
No, I understand what you're doing here. Listeners, Nathan called me one day while I was at work. And, sorry, side story. It's not about robot business, I'm sorry. And one of my apprentices and me had just stopped at a 7-Eleven to grab something to eat. And Nathan then realised that I was putting mustard, like an American mustard, on a meat pie. And it was like I had just insulted his ancestry, just desecrated his home. He's never been that angry with me. But also, you seemed flabbergasted. You were flabbergangry.
I was flabbergasted because it's disgusting. Now, I'm happy to put it out there to people, put it in the comments. Who regularly goes and says, actually, bypass the tomato sauce, bypass even the barbecue sauce.
I don't eat tomato sauce.
Sorry, you've had your moment.
Okay.
Bypass any sauce that would normally live on a pastry. Could I get some cheeky mustard on that pie, please? That's right. I'm not a full bag of chips, and I would like mustard on my pie. Tell me who says that. Leave it in the comments, please. I want to know which people we need to remove from our following.
Okay. So back to the episode, and we can discuss mustard on pies being a good idea later on. So, for example, the Imperial Navy will regularly take part in a naval tradition, even in our own history here. And for you Navy enthusiasts out there, shout out to our boy Harry Bob. The Navy had gangs of individuals. This is going back into the 16, 17, 1800s, who would go through coastal towns and basically kidnap people and then have them rendered unconscious. And when they would wake up, they would be on the ships.
They were press gangs?
They were press gangs.
Press gangs, yeah.
And so the Imperial Navy in Warhammer 40k does the same thing. There are press gangs that will go to settlements and planets and space stations and literally just kidnap people and take them on as crew for the vessels. Now, that would be organised centrally by slave masters on the ships. And that then, these press gangs would be working for the slave masters. The slave masters would be within the hierarchy of the Imperial Navy. They would have their own guild and representation within the Imperial Navy structure. So, and you said it before, planets Factorums turn around and say, we need workers, but we don't want to pay them. So planets or new colonies, newly terraformed, not necessarily terraformed worlds, newly populated world, colonized. It's like with a colander. But they turn around and say, well, we're going to need a workforce for this. Let's find ourselves some workers. Well, we can go to the local slave guild and basically say, give us prisoners, give us, civilians who maybe get a little bit lost. And you pick them up and just go, boom, gotcha.
So I get what you're saying. And I agree that the slave guild is required and needed for that level of administration, that level of, structure that you're talking about. But they're also not needed because you can turn around to a planetary governor on the next planet over and say, we need 20,000 slaves. And they're going to say, well, empty our prison. Just have them. Take them all. We don't mind.
Yeah, but that's still needing to be organised on almost a governmental level. That is still going to have to be organised.
And you can still do it. You could get the enforcers to do. You get your local enforcers, get your local Arbeits to sort it out. I'm saying that you don't necessarily need them. I'm saying that they add a layer. And okay, let me clarify here. It is better with them. It is more efficient with them. But at the end of the day, if they weren't there, slaves would still exist. The trading of slaves would still exist, and the demand for slaves would still exist.
But I have a feeling that these individual groups, these individual slavers or these individual slaving companies would run the risk of depopulating areas too far. So it would run the risk of, for example, going to particular worlds and seeing, for example, a feral world. They're strong, they're resilient individuals. You can go there and just go, all right, cool, harvest everyone.
You're referring to like overfishing? Is that what you're saying?
Oh, so this is why I had to make our point clear on our stance on this matter.
They're overfishing in certain areas.
I'm so
and that's why
angry because I'm defending slavery. Like, it's... Oh, okay.
So what you're saying is the guild are like, the local wardens or the what are they, fisheries board or something.
The fisheries board, they're basically saying, no, how big's that one? It's too small. Put it back.
Put it back. It doesn't belong on your vessel. Do you know you've taken 50,000 slaves from just this hive? You need to tone it back. And we've told you before, no nets. It's a no net policy in this hive. You got to actually use a line and a pole, please. It's ridiculous.
Okay. No. Stop.
Stop.
I'm now picturing them as basically fishing and game wardens, but of they're regulators for the over harvesting of populations, and that's wrong. That's not what they're actually doing. That's in your mind, if you removed the centralization of the Slaves Guild, or the Prisoners with Jobs Guild, that's it. You're almost saying that it wouldn't cause too much damage. I think it would. I think it would just effectively be the depopulation of either hives or settlements or planets. In some cases, in going out for this labour, because the centralisation of sort of power when it comes to slavery within the Imperium, I think it acts as a regulator, and that's what it is on Necromunda. Sort of bringing it back down to Necromunda here. I think the Slaves Guild their main job, I think, not only is as we talked about before, the facilitation of transport and sales and obviously taking their part of it all, but it also adds a certain level of law enforcement for a place like Necromunda. Because if you get caught and you go to the Guilders, the Mercator Sanguis is probably going to get you. And
right, okay.
I'll die in a gunfight before I get sold to those butchers.
So, what you're saying is that people are more inclined to die than get sold to the Makeda sanguis, right?
I personally would go that route.
Okay. But if there's regulation there, surely they can be treated well, or surely they can be treated better than if there's no regulation, yes?
What do you mean?
Well, we're saying that the slave guild is the regulators for the industry, right?
They're basically the the compliance officers for slavery on Necromunda. Yes.
Yeah. So,
but at the same time, they're also merchants. They're also buyers and sellers and facilitators of transactions. The resource or the merchandise in this situation just happens to be people.
I was going to say, okay, you need to, this is where it starts to get very, very dark because...
I'm very uncomfortable.
I know. I know we're treading a very, very iffy pathway here. Now, I'll get back to what I was asking about.
Yes.
But in regard to the murky path that we tread here, it is quite obvious that the Makeda sanguis would put no merit in the individual. You know, they are simply another number, another thing to be replaced. Because you even said in your read, they're bought and sold by the millions, you know.
The majority of them, I believe, would be nothing but marks on a chalkboard. I have to disagree with your statement against them believing in the merit of the individual, but that's a conversation about pit fighters, and I want to talk about that next.
Yeah. No.
Yeah.
What I'm talking about is yes, I've got, let's say I've got 25,000 slaves, and they're all fantastically strong and tall, and my transport got taken out, and they're all dead. Yep. Okay, we'll go get another 25,000 more. That's what I'm talking about. That sense of that individual. They would almost not see it as, we've lost such a strong cadre of slaves. It would just be like, yes, they were good, and they were valuable, and they were probably going to make a lot more money than they were going to cost. But at the end of the day, they are slaves, and if it takes us getting 35,000 slaves to replace that 25,000 slaves, then so be it. You know what I mean? But anyway, back to my point is so you're saying that you would rather take a bullet than get sold as a slave?
On Necromunda? That's for damn sure.
Do you not think that the Makeda sanguis, as a regulator within this field, and this is where their value is, where I still don't believe they have the value that you attach to them, but their value is that they would protect assets. They would scour a battlefield and say, that one only got shot in the arm. Let's repair it. Let's take it. Let's make sure it gets healed, and then it can get put back into the stocks of available sellable slaves. So go on.
The concept. Okay, so if I am a ganger, and I am running the risk of being sold to the slave guild, my life ends up going one of three ways. In the pits, chained to a forge, or basically just worked to death. And there's no good outcome there. We've seen pit fighters in 40k. They have arms removed. They have the helms welded to their face. They become living weapons, and that's your best option. Your best option is to be thrown into a hole and told, fight that guy until one of you is a puddle. And then when hopefully the other person becomes a puddle, and hopefully it's a person and not like an ambot or an ambull or an ogrin or, I don't know, three rather nasty, bitey things. And then they basically put you back together, replacing any parts that they need to, and then you get to do it again the next day. And then the next day, And
But you're
that's
still-
the best option.
If you're still alive.
Are you? Are you? I'm against slavery again now. Is that life? Like, at least in the Forge, you can take pride in your work. You can be working. You're contributing still to Necromunda. As a pit fighter, you are nothing but entertainment for those who see themselves as your better. All right?
See themselves
Only
or
by
actually
coming
are?
together can we rise up
Oh,
and
God.
tear down the hive. Like, I'm not saying we should kill all the billionaires, but I'm saying we should at least eat them.
So, wait. Whoa. Are we talking about Necromundan billionaires?
Yes, we are talking about Necromunda.
Yeah, okay, cool. We definitely needed a bit of clarification on that one. So, I would see what the Makeda Sanguis is doing is protecting assets. Now, if you become an asset, so be it. Do you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. But if they are not there, and there are roving bands of individuals who round up gangers and survivors of battlefields and so forth and what have you, they are still going to do the same thing. They're still going to take care of the individual. They're still going to get them ready to become a more sellable commodity. Do you know what I mean? They won't want them bleeding out and dying out or die. They don't want to feed somebody. And this sounds really cold. They don't want to feed somebody who's eventually going to die before they can sell them. So,
And
what
yes,
I'm saying...
I agree with you there, but at the same time, you can't look at the Makeda Sanguis and just be like, well, oh yeah, he's a little bit sore. What are we got? We're gonna take him to the doctor. We're gonna take him to a rogue doc and say, all right, friend, here you go. Oh, are you feeling better now? Oh, there you go, buddy. All right, now into your hole. You know, here's some chains. Now you feel a bit better. We can slap some chains on you. No, they're not doing that at all, mate. They...
Sorry, I'm thinking about something here. Do you think the Makeda Sanguis would have like something equivalent to a Hippocratic Oath? Where they're just like, we have a certain sense of responsibility and obligation to the individuals
Money.
that we turn...
No,
No.
I don't believe they would have the Hippocratic Oath. I don't believe they would have anything like that. I truly believe their only loyalty would be toward, and their only oath would be towards making financial gains for their guild.
Yes, and so you take something like the Iron Guild. The Iron Guild would probably be the same thing as like money. But but their way of doing it would be to facilitate interactions, and they would probably have a code of ethics and guidelines and whatever, very loosely held, obviously, because of the constant infighting on Necromunda. But surely the Makeda Sanguis would have something similar as well, where they would be like, okay, we need to make money. So what is the best way to make money? Are we torturing and butchering our slaves? That's stupid. Let's not do that, because we are the slave guild, not the torture
that's
guild.
the thing. That they're not torturing and butchering them. They are the 99.9999% of them are being sold as commodities, are being sold as workers. That's what they are. They are simply a resource that you can use to produce other resources. It's that 0.00001% that is pit fighters, that is, effectively combat servitors. Like, the majority of them would be sold as workers and employees, and
No, they wouldn't be employees. No.
sorry, you're right. As workers instead of employees, or they would be. They would be servants. They would have all these other uses. They don't want them to die. It's like, and I can't believe this. Think of cattle, for example.
Yeah.
The Makeda Sanguis would be looking at these people as you would cattle. What is the point of harvesting and transporting all of this cattle that you need to... And cattle's a really bad example here because you want cattle to die. But, what's the point of it dying before it gets there to do its job?
And that's what I'm saying. Would they not have some sort of guideline, Hippocratic oath, some sort of thing that would say you need to maintain this minimum standard of care for your slaves? You need to maintain...
Absolutely not, because they would take like spoiled stock.
Yeah, but if you end up with 50% spoiled stock, there's going to be questions asked of you as a gilder.
You're bad at your job, and you fall back down the totem pole, and your second takes over your particular section of the guild.
And this keeps circling back to what I'm saying. There would be guidelines as to how to take care of the slaves. There would be.
I can't believe. I can't believe that would be correct.
Well, I
hope it is. I really hope it is.
You would have to standardise your practices so that when, the top 3 members of the slave guild in a particular hive are killed, then the next 3 that come up, although they say the entire hierarchy, the entire leadership is wiped out in some horrific slave-based incident, they are easily replaced by people who can come in and have a look at the processes, what they're doing, and go, cool, we don't cut corners on feeding our slaves. We don't cut corners on keeping them healthy, because when we go to sell them, this needs to be like shelf-ready commodities. We can't sell stuff that is in a poor and, non-functioning capacity.
Okay, and going back to the cattle analogy, so before sale, would they feed them and house them and pretty them up? So when you're purchasing them, or, would they put all of the good working slaves in the factorum producing your goods, and they'd be taking care of them to that point? But once they are no longer the property of the guild, once they've been passed on to that house or that merchant or that clan or that rogue trader, they would wipe their hands of them, because worst case scenario, they all live and they don't get another sale. Best case scenario, a whole bunch of them die, and that merchant or rogue trader or clan house come to the slave guild and say, we need some more. The oath, that ideal of keeping them healthy and alive would stop the moment the money is in their pocket.
I totally agree with you. That's what I'm saying. Like
Sorry, I've misunderstood everything you've said. I thought you were like they were telling people, now be good to the slaves.
No, not at all.
Oh yeah, no. They would look after them until the deal was done. Until the moment that they put that pen down, it's just like, see ya.
Mate, as you said, they would be banking on them dying. They'd be like, cool,
yes.
all those long-term viruses that we put into them, they should take effect in about 12 to 18 months. So we've got 12 to 18 months to get a brand new batch of slaves ready to go.
Yes,
because that manufactorum is going to get wiped out. And you got me thinking about that. That's probably what they would be doing. They would be looking at the slaves that they sell as workers and like manufacturing workers I'm talking about here. Those doing just the most god-awful jobs, that they would be looking at those as their bread and butter. They are the ones that we are selling all the time. We need to sell X% per year to just keep the lights on, to keep everything running the way that we want to do it. Now,
yes,
our pit fighters, our servants, anything that's a little bit, anything that's not sold in bulk would be then regarded as, this is where we start to make actual money. This is where we actually start to make some serious coin. Whereas the people that we're selling in bulk, they are designed to maintain the guild.
Yes.
Again, I harp back to my original point, is that House Escher could do this as well. Not as well connected, not as efficiently.
No, because House Escher would only do it to help House Escher. House Goliath would do it to only help House Goliath.
Yes.
The guilds only work because they are a separate entity to the clan houses. Their loyalty is to themselves and ensuring the tithe is paid to the Imperial House and to the Imperium as a whole.
Look, all of that is very, very correct. But what I'm saying to you is that if House Escher needed slaves and there was no slave guild around, they would get slaves.
Well, they do. They everyone else, every house has slaves to some degree.
Yeah.
It's simply the sale and the repurposing and the facilitation of transport on a mass scale is done by the guild.
Yes, I think we keep arguing around the same point, is that I agree with all of that all of the convenience and all of the synergies that the guild create are really important. But if they were not around, then the process of buying and selling slaves and, it wouldn't be as clean cut, but would still happen.
No, it could still
100%.
happen, but it would be worse. It would not be as efficient. It
Yes.
wouldn't be as direct.
Yep.
That's the point I'm trying to say here. Like, yes, anyone could do this. Like,
But that lack of efficiency, that lack of directness, I don't think would be so detrimental that it would see a failing of production or an undermining of the tithe.
Totally disagree.
Well, that's because you're wrong.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I think it's the fact that they are separate from every other entity is what makes them so efficient and what allows the, once again, reprehensible act of slavery to work so well on Necromunda.
True. All of that statement is true. They are still not as important as the Guild of Iron.
Disagree. You can get medals from off-world. You can get metal. Anyone can go out there. You have independent prospectors going out and doing what the Guild of Iron is doing already. You have these other groups doing it. All the Guild of Iron are doing is stopping the illegal importation and taking a cut.
They're not. No, they're not. That is, we have discussed this.
I know we've discussed it.
This is not what that's not all they're doing. They are facilitating the gang houses, the noble houses, to speaking to each other when it comes to sharing.
The Guild of Coin could do that. The Guild of Coin could absorb the Guild of Iron, and the planet would not be worse off for it.
No chance. No chance, because the Guild of Coin would be seen as a guild that is only looking out for money. That is it. Whereas the Guild of Iron,
just like the Guild of Iron is right now.
And they're not just only looking out for money. They're 100%. 100% money is the end goal, like all the guilds, except for the Air Guild. Their end goal is to build Zeppelins. But I think that the Guild of Iron is looking out for their place of power to say that we can facilitate this. Whereas the Slave Guild, for me, is a guild that simply look like 100%. They would be looking for their power. They'd be looking for their coin, but at the same time, they are. I believe, and I'm happy for people to tell me that I'm wrong on this one. I believe that they are only surviving by a convenience of the houses. If the houses decided not to use them or found a better way around them, they would. Absolutely, straight away.
And the Imperial House would come down on them like an absolute fist and go, no, use our centralised form of retail management.
Retail management. Look, I think we're definitely going to disagree about the value of the Slave Guild. I think I wouldn't put them one or two. Definitely not. They're an important guild. Don't get me wrong, because they help make things work better. But in terms of their overall influence, mate, other than hosting a few little gladiatorial fights, and then filling up a manufactorium here or there with people, you won't be missed.
So who do you think? Okay. Genuine question. Who's the most important guild in your mind?
That is a good question. The two that spring to mind for me straight away is probably either the Electro Guild or the Corpse Guild. So we won't go too much into why I think they are, but because we do want to share that information when we do an episode on them. But the Corpse Guild, because there's always going to be corpses on Necromunda, and somebody needs to do something about it. And that needs to be centralised and organised. Very much, and this is going to sound horrendous, but we're already talking about the benefits of slavery. Very much like you put your garbage out on whatever night, somebody needs to come and pick it up. And then you pour your bin in, and it allows for structure. If you imagine how many corpses would be left around Necromunda just rotting and festering. Grandpapa Nurgle probably hates the Corpse Guild. So, but anyway, that is...
Well, I would actually put the Corpse Guild at number 1 and then the Slave Guild at number 2.
Yeah, well, you're wrong, because the Electro Guild's probably number 2.
So electricians are number 2. Got it.
Oh, no!
No, that's fine.
No!
I'm shocked you put us behind butchers, but fair enough. So...
Played me like a fool there.
I did.
Thank you very much, sir.
Okay, so... the other aspect of the Mercator Sanguis, still reprehensible, but not as reprehensible as general slavery, is pit fighters. So one of the things we obviously talk about a lot with these is what the guild actually brings you when you ally to it. We've actually not talked much about the slave guild. We've mainly just yelled at each other.
Yes.
So, in regards to that, the guild is obviously incredibly influential, and we've seen what happens not only on Necromunda but across the Imperium. Slavery is such a key pillar holding up the power of the Imperium in the galaxy. To a certain degree, everyone within the Imperium, outside of a few elite individuals, exists within a perpetual state of slavery. You have members of, for example, the Administratum who get their roles, and those jobs have to be passed down to their children. Their children are born enslaved to a job they don't even have yet, and they are going to be forced to do that job. You have obviously manufactoriums, and you have feudal worlds agri worlds, where you are born and you, whether you want to or not, are going to be a farmer. You exist within a state of slavery from the get-go. And as we've said, we've made a clear point of saying we disagree with slavery. Slavery is reprehensible. It's a horrible thing. But it makes sense, doesn't it?
Look, in the guise of the Imperium, absolutely, you cannot have an you cannot have an upper middle class in the Imperium.
No.
You really, really need mass bodies to do the jobs for you, because those jobs, and as it says in the read, the people that are in those positions have very few rights. Probably, what does it say? Resources with no more rights than a servitor. So, and that is what you need, because you are not going to make abominable AIs.
Yep.
So you need to have something else. And what has the Imperium got an overabundance of? People, humans. So let us use them in the best way possible. Now, we cannot make all of those individual lives perfect and great and whatever have you. So we are going to just bite the bullet and just say, well, these are our slaves, and they are going to work until they are dead. And then, do you know what? That might become, we haven't heard of them, but you can potentially have like a slave world where the people being born on that world know that they get put into press gangs, know that they get shipped off world to manufactoriums that just don't have the populations to maintain what they're doing, because the problem is that the Imperium is under siege, and with the Imperium doesn't have a chance to take a breath to coordinate and right itself to make the Emperor's vision come true of like actually having a humanity and a sense of Imperium that is not completely debilitated by religion, and then also this constant need to be at war. So, go on. Sorry.
There's a Imperial Guard regiment. They are the Jopal indentured squadrons. I'm pretty sure they fought on Armageddon.
Okay.
But
yep.
basically, it's exactly what we're talking about. You're born, and you immediately owe money to the government. Like, you're born, and you're in debt. And so what happens is you start working to pay off your debt. But obviously to do that, you're then having to be supplied with clothing and food and a place to live, which just makes you accrue more debt. Kind of like the mines during the Californian Gold Rush, where you could, you had to get a company shovel and a company hat and a company pair of pants and or trousers to our British listeners. And but the Jopal indentured squadrons, what they end up doing is they can borrow money to pay off that debt, which means they then have to work for like a local gang lord or like a local politician, same thing, or they go into further debt. So what they can do is basically join the Jopal indentured squadrons, and they basically then go to war, and it pays off their debt, and then the Astra Militarum pays them, which then goes towards their debt. But they're paying off their slavery by putting their life at risk. And that's, it's so ridiculous that, like, there's all these people from Jopal wanting to join the regiment because it helps them pay off the money that they owe just for existing. And it's the same thing here with the slaves from throughout the Imperium. They have this debt to the Imperium of their life and their ability and their knowledge and their existence. Yeah. Like that's what they owe. And it's just such an insane concept. But it works in Necromunda, you know?
Look, it works in Necromunda, and it works across the Imperium because you cannot have such a vast population and such a major demand off your population. You know, we need to recruit Imperial Navy, we need to recruit Astra Militarum, we need to recruit Space Marines, we need to recruit PDF, we need to recruit workers to maintain the equipment for that. The demand on the human population to be available as a resource for the Imperium becomes so great that they cannot begin to look at these people, but simply as cogs within their machine. You know what I mean?
Correct.
And so the slaves become an important cog of that, and they're needed. They're absolutely needed. I'll sort of backtrack a little bit on what I was saying. There is a definite place for a slave guild because of how vast this network of slaves needs to be, that you absolutely must have some sort of coordination and guidance to it. Otherwise, it just turns into a schmozzle. So, yes, there is a need. Would that still exist without it? Yes, of course. But at the end of the day, if the Imperium didn't lean on slavery as a way to maintain itself, and then we can look at Necromunda as a microcosm of the Imperium as well, of if Necromunda and Lord Helmore and the noble houses didn't lead on slavery as a way to maintain their tithe, as a way to help stabilise their power and so forth, then it would be an impossible uphill task of being able to keep yourselves in those positions, because you couldn't do it. To keep the population happy would I think destroy your system bankrupt your system. You know what I mean? You would just be impossible to make the workers happy, the working class, the middle class, in a comfortable position, because you need to be able to cross that off your list of, are my workers happy? Who cares? Are they working? That's what I care about.
Yeah.
And that's where slavery becomes an important and almost necessary part of Necromunda. Not almost, it becomes a necessary part of Necromunda. Yeah.
It's actually super depressing.
It is super depressing, but it's the Slave Guild. It's no fun. It's no Air Guild, There's no joy to these people. But the other thing that it mentions in the read, and it's only one little bit, that they control a lot of the Hive's gambling as well. So I guess that's a byproduct of being involved in certain areas of entertainment that I guess align themselves with gambling. So you've got pit fighters, and then you're supplying probably people to work within gambling dens and all that kind of stuff. So it'd be another way of keeping their pockets lined, and a way for them to ensure, they ensure their power through their money. It's not their capacity to provide the slaves. Because, and this is my point of view, and we differ here, I think they would, if a manufactorum needed slaves and there's no slave guild, they're going to go find people. They're going to go start filling their things. So the slave guild maintains its power through probably having quite a vast amount of wealth associated with it as well, and saying, we have the capacity to take down your manufactorum. We have the capacity to destroy your resources and your processes, because we can pay mercenaries, we can pay gangs, we can pay off nobles if we need to, because of where we're placed within Necromunda.
Yeah. It's still really depressing.
I know. We've turned it into... Do you know what? Right. We've made it really grim dark, which is not good.
We have. Let's lift up the momentum a little bit and talk about what a relationship with the Slave Guild gets you in game, which will also lead really happily onto another uplifting subject I want to talk about. So let's have a look. The Slave Guild benefits. This rule is called weapon training. While the gang is allied with the Slave Guild in the pre-battle sequence, they can choose any one of their gang's champions or their gang's leader, provided the fighter chosen is available for the upcoming battle, as a candidate for extra training. For the duration of the battle, the chosen fighter counts as having one extra skill, chosen by the controlling player from their primary skill list. That is massive.
That's actually pretty huge, yeah. Because there are some skills out there which just completely change the way that you run a particular character. Yeah, right.
But imagine just getting a free skill for that game. If you know for the fact that your next game is going to be tough, you just turn around and go, cool, my leader is taking another one of their primary skills, if it's combat or ferocity or whatever it is.
Yeah.
And, it's only going to be for one game, but it's an immediate step up. We have the downside. Slaves for the pit. During the post-game sequence, if the gang has any captured fighters, these must be given immediately to the Slave Guild. The gang can instead choose to keep their captors or sell them to the guilders for credits as normal, but if they do, they must test the alliance. Alternatively, and instead of allowing the captor's gang to attempt a rescue mission, the gang may accept a ransom of half the captor's value, rounded up to the nearest 5 credits. But if they do, the alliance is immediately broken. Yeah. See, it's...
Wow. Yeah.
You can get something, but you're done. No matter what, you are done.
Yeah. And it's kind of like what you said before. It's like they wash their hands of them. They just go, no. That's yours. See you later. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it's
right.
Like, you sold it. You've given it away from us. That's cool, but we're done with you. Goodbye.
Yeah.
All right.
You don't abide by our edicts, what we consider as important aspects of, I guess, our guild protocols.
Yeah. But you can just imagine that, like, they're like, yep, sweet, and they walk away, and the gang's like, oh, that finished quite easily. And then just out of the shadows from nowhere, catalyzed. This house catalyst guy comes out and just starts stabbing you.
That would be gold. Absolute gold.
The Alliance will also give you access to a slaver entourage in the form of the gang. Now, the slaver entourage is insane. It gives you a chain lord who is basically your the member of the slave guild who he has that medallion. He's an obvious member of the guild. Yep. You then get a shackleman, which is just a really fancy way of saying guy with enormous grabby claw. Basically the right-hand man of the chain lord, the one doing the actual work, or like he gets whipped by the chain lord, and then the shackleman whips someone else to do the work. And 2 pit fighters. Now, the pit fighters are just awesome. I'm genuinely gushing over this this guild delegation because, in my opinion, they are probably the best guild delegation of all of them.
Ooh. I always have a personal favourite out of all the miniature ones, and that is always the Water Guild.
The Water Guild looks the best, guaranteed, but there's something about, like, so the Chain Lord has either a Chain Glaive or a Shock Whip and a Chain Axe, and has Light Carapace, a Bio Booster, and a Stim Slug Stash. He ain't here for a tickle fight. He's here to hurt some people. The Shackleman has a Shock Stave and a Harpoon Launcher. He also has a Flak Armor and a Cult Icon. And then you have Dem Boys. You have a pair of Pit Fighters, and they have Chain Glaives. Then they have Flak Armor and Stim Slug Sashes. Stim Slug Stashes. They are just like friend-zoned up to the eyeballs and are coming at you with a chainsword on a stick. They're insane. Like, I have gang ideas. They're in chain. I have gang ideas literally just based on this. Like, they're just... Slavery is reprehensible and wrong.
It's horrible.
But this is so cool.
But those guys in a press gang would look amazing.
Yes.
Do you know what I mean? Like, they're the core elite of your press gang, and then you would have others who
Shut up. That's literally my gang idea.
Oh, so Sam, just off topic. Do you have a gang idea for the Slavers
I do,
Guild?
but I don't want to discuss it just yet.
Yeah, oh, okay, all right. Well, continue with the what you were saying before. Sorry, I've interrupted. You've thrown me off here. I don't know.
They would look great at the centre of a press gang. Yeah, I love it. Slavery is reprehensible, but it is reprehensible for you to not buy these miniatures. These miniatures are so good. Like, the Chain Lord, he's fat. He's got like the bionic parts to him. He's been run ragged, and you can tell. You look at him and you say, like, you've lived rough. But
definitely. Yeah, it is. Oh, yeah, they're just. They don't look pretty. Do you know what I mean? Like, and I mean, but in the scales of Necromunda, then nothing is really pretty. Do you know what I mean? But these things look like they're just out for the next slave. That's it. Next. He's got
the Chain Lord's got the enormous, like, double-bladed chain axe. He's got the mechanical left hand with the whip hanging out of it. He's got that crown, and it actually, like, if you look at it, it looks like it's been hammered into his head. It's not an actual crown. Yeah. It's very Ogre Kingdoms look to it, where it's been jammed into his skin. He looks like a small Ogren. Then the shackleman, like he's holding up at these shackles, like, oh, I'm so smart. Look at me, I've got a big scar on my face. And also his harpoon launcher has like a man catcher on it, but once it gets around you, you can't take it off. And then those pit fighters, like, one's got the big chain glaive, the chainsword on a stick, and the other one, his arm is literally a chainsaw. They've been crudely stitched together. They're wearing like the loincloths and the metal cloth, like the chains hanging off it, the skull icons. One dude's literally standing on an Orlok power claw and is holding the head of some poor Orlok degenerate bastard. And like the pit fighters are just, you can see they have survived. They have seen shit that we could not compute. Robot business wouldn't know how to compute this, and he's a goddamn genius.
I really like the one with the chainsaw arm, half a skull missing, the scars all over them. There's a sense of, I think, and overall for the guild, there is a sense of cruelty and callousness required for these members. You know, every person, every cry, every whimper, every, you know, person who is begging them not to be turned into a slave. They're just like, I don't know, money. Why is the money talking to me? Like I shouldn't be listening to the money. Like it's got a chatterbox on it, and that's what I see, particularly in that guy holding the head. It is just like complete callousness. Like, I will kill you because you are stopping me from getting a certain amount of slaves. But once I get to those slaves, if none of them fight back, they're all getting bandied together, mate. They're all getting chained together, and we're taking it.
Those pit fighters would be slaves as well.
Like, but that's what I'm talking about. That callous nature
cruelty,
of them.
Yeah. They've leaned into it.
And it's not just these miniatures. The idea of the slave guild as well. The slave guild would say, you don't want to be a slave anymore. Well, you're a bit of a bruiser. You're intimidating just by the fact that you exist. I have a job for you. You're going to become one of my slave catchers. And it's such a horrible task, because you are then taking somebody and forcing them into a position, into a role that you yourself were in. Do you know what I mean? Did
you ever see the TV series Spartacus from like the mid 2000s? I think it was 2010.
Yeah, I know the one you're talking about.
It was made by Stars.
Saw bits of it.
Yeah. There's a fantastic actor, I believe he's British, called John Hannah, and he played Batiatus, who was the owner of a gladiator school. It's a ludus, I believe it's called.
Yep.
And one of the slaves, when he would go out into town, Barker would follow him around as sort of like a bodyguard, but was also out there doing his dirty work. And that's how I'm picturing this. Like the Chain Lord is effectively Batiatus, he owns these people, but he's using them the whole time simply as tools to further his own interests. And these gladiators, these pit fighters, these pit slaves, like you said, that cruelty has changed them to, no, now I have someone I can stand on. I'm able. I'm the brute. I've killed. Yeah, I'm the brute. I've killed dozens, if not hundreds, of people in the arenas. I'm the danger here.
Yeah.
And like you look at them, those two, when you look at them, they look like world eaters. And let's not forget, the world eaters. Angron was a freaking pit slave.
True. Yeah. So I mean. The
gang idea.
This is mate. This throws me, because it doesn't really throw me, but it just makes it so vicious that they would just simply grab their pit fighters and just go, "Do you want more friends on? Yeah, I want more friends on. Yeah, I need all these things that this injecting collar is doing to me. Well, we have a job for you. You need to protect X, Y, and Z, or you need to go round up slaves, or you need to go stomp in the head of this particular gang. And this is where I was talking about earlier, the maintaining of power, the continuation of their power forms up very much around the idea that we have an incredible amount of individuals that we can call upon to disrupt operations, to take down rivals. And that's not just the elite fighters. They would say that to a vast amount of their slaves, say, we're going to go attack House Orlok in this particular settlement. So you're not going to be given any pistols or guns or anything, but you're going to have knives and blades. Anybody who survives this attack, like, we find you inside their compound, you've survived it, blah, 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 you'll be given your freedom. Whoop-de-doo.
Yeah.
All right, fantastic. So you have these motivated fighters who, and you might have, hundreds of them who you can just pour at the Orloks, and hopefully they run out of bullets before they run out of people. But then at the end of the day, once they're free, they're now surrounded by a whole bunch of people from the Slavers Guild, and they just capture them again anyway. So they just go, you got your freedom. Congratulations. Also put these on because we've just captured a new free soul who shouldn't be free. So they can maintain power not just through the individuals we're talking about, we're the pit fighters and so forth, but individuals who are incredibly dangerous in mass. Like they become like the horde. So you go, let's expend 200, 300, 500 of our slaves, because who cares? The profits or the power or the influence we're going to take from taking down this particular gang or individual or part of their house are worth it more than the cost of the slaves.
It's really depressing.
It's horrible. It's so horrible. It's sort of, it's Skaven with bloody. You've got the clan rats and the Skaven slaves, and then you've got
Skaven.
Huh?
Skaven.
It's not the same, you pronounce it. And then you've got like your storm vermin and so forth, and then the storm vermin become what effectively is your pit fighters, and everything else is chaff. So anyway, did you have a gang idea? Can we get to this yet? Or?
I did, but it's now changed. So you can use your press gang idea if you want. It's definitely the inferior gang. Now that I've been thinking about Spartacus, which is an amazing show, you need to watch it. I reckon I've watched it through 6 or 7 times.
Right. Wow. Okay.
There is a character by the name of Asher, and in one of the seasons, he sort of builds up this like Last Chances style squad of gladiators, and I'm picturing them almost as a great way to do a gang of slave guild in like. I would have them where the slave lord has basically traveling from settlement to settlement, right? So basically showing off the quality of his wares as he travels settlement to settlement. Everyone would be a pit fighter. So immediately you're replacing, like, they've got robotic limbs, legs, arms, the cyber eyes. I'm picturing a lot of Goliath models as base here, but also maybe some Orlocks, maybe a Xenos here and there.
That'd be cool.
You do it, you have a mutant in there, that sort of thing, and then lots of close combat. Maybe the younger ones would have pistols. Maybe the Jews would have like a pistol here and there, but they'd mostly have knives. Your champions would have, like, you'd definitely be running them most likely as Goliath. But lots of close combat, lots of get up in there and fight. No armor though.
That's cool.
No armor. Because you had some gladiators that had a lot of heavy armor and that sort of thing, but the vast majority of them were loincloth and sandals, you know what I mean?
Yeah, just like, have a go, mate. Have a go. Because
Yeah.
we're not providing you with any additional support here. So, yeah, righto. Okay.
Yeah, but then, lots of chain glaives, chain weapons, maybe your champion. Because there was a character in Spartacus in the prequel season called Gannicus, and he had these two swords. It was fantastic. I'm probably gonna rewatch
So,
Spartacus this week. But
would they all be named Spartacus?
No, you wouldn't have any of them named Spartacus. Like, that's just from the movie. They'd all clearly have different stories. They'd all be from different places because they've been harvested by this chain lord.
But let me ask you something though. When one of the nobles came down and went, "Which one of you is Spartacus?" What would they do?
Stab him in the face because they're escaped slaves.
But then would like one of them stand up and say, "No, I'm Spartacus," and then the other one would say, "No, I'm Spartacus." Would that happen? Like,
that's not what would happen. No.
Okay.
Jesus.
Anyway, go on.
But they would still be part of the guild, but they would focus primarily on the buying and selling of gladiators. So they'd be going to those pits, they'd be going to those arenas, and the ones they'd capture, they would then take with them as pit fighters, and they would basically be, teaching them how to be pit fighters because that's their life now.
Right. Okay. Yeah. I see that. That's really cool. So, so you can see them raiding slavers?
No. I see them as still technically part of the guild. Like they wouldn't be renegades in that respect. They would be renegades in the fact that they're not worrying about factorums or servants or anything like that. They are in there and they are attacking gangs because they see that champion or they see that ganger that they know is going to make the chain lord money in the arenas. So they would be going in there and being like, "You're a slave now." No, I'm not. I'm so and so of the Iron Dogs Warlock gang. About that. And then they kill everyone except for him, and they just go, "All right, you're one of us now. Here's the shackles. Here's your control collar. Here's a chain axe. We're going to teach you how to use it properly."
So they're headhunters, really. Just corporate headhunters.
Yes,
corporate
headhunters.
We've seen your resume. We've seen your LinkedIn. You're actually somebody who we would really love to have as part of our team. We're a developing, ongoing team that really loves a challenge. How do you feel about joining us? No.
Yes.
No, sorry, I put my question in wrong. Not how do you feel about joining us. You are joining us. Yes, right. Okay, cool. So they would still have a semblance of loyalty to the guild. They would say, no, the guild is still part of who we are, who we like, how we make money, how we maintain our power, how we maintain our structure as well, and how we maintain our reputation because we are part of the guild. So if you push down on us hard enough, even though we're not technically doing what the guild wants us to do, but because we're basically like, free pit fighters, then you will have to also deal with the slave guild. It's not two separate entities. Yeah, I like it. It's a good idea. It's a really good idea. You could see it being endorsed by the slave guild as well. 100%. I'll be like, send them out there. Send them roving. Because we get a steady stream of individuals coming back, or we can use them to take down rivals, not necessarily rivals, sorry, take down gangs and individuals who are causing us grief, those who have broke their alliances with us. Send in our pit fighters. Let them, and if we lose anything, we've lost nothing because we were never getting them back into the pit without losing valuable resources. So just send them because they still want to have the affiliation with us. That's cool.
I'm also thinking it'd be cool to watch them like, they'd be training these pit fighters and then sort of, much like in Spartacus, trying to go from the smaller outer settlements, the lower hive, to try and get higher and higher and higher into the sort of, the fights that are put on the Vox networks and the shown to the nobles and that sort of thing. And then they can sell those fighters on to the nobles as bodyguards. It's at the end of the day, they're still doing it for the money, and that money is going, obviously, a portion of that will go directly to the guild itself.
Yes.
Because what they're doing at the end of the day is, once again, selling that human commodity.
No, I really like that. So as the pit fighters go up further up the tree, they're thinking, oh, we're going to earn our freedom, blah, 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 and whatever the case might be. But all you're really doing is you're putting yourself in the shop window. Yeah, yes. Cool. I like it. It's a really cool game. It's definitely one of your good ones.
Thanks.
So my gang idea is, as I was alluding to earlier, which you tried to steal from me because of the type of person that you are, is to have I sort of see it as in what I was talking about before with the power, is that you would have a gang built around the entourage, and the premise of that would be that there would be a very elite core of the gang who have direct ties with the slave guild. They're all members of it, or they are incredibly powerful allies of the slave guild, and they would surround themselves with just an absolute throng of individuals who the promise of freedom is what they have. And they would, you get a stub pistol, you might get a knife, you won't get both, you might get a grenade. And so you would take, I don't know, like a corridor gang or something like that, swarm it with Juves and gangers and so forth. But the individual leaders would come from that entourage, and you would have one or two incredibly good fighters, and then a champion who was more sort of like a coin counter, and then obviously the leader who is some representation of the guild or one of the strong alliances they have. But it would just be a swarm of numbers just pouring across the battlefield, just attempting something that looks like a fight for freedom.
But would they be free?
No, none of them are free. Even the highest ranking individual there is still completely tethered to the guild, right? And the promise is, and it's not for the elite of the gang, it is for the masses. The promise is you will earn your freedom after each fight. You know what I mean? So if you survive it, you will earn your freedom. But that's not the reality of it. There will be another condition, another thing added. And if they try and turn on them, they don't have the resources or the weapons or the armor to fight this elite cluster who is basically guiding them around. So they would also have, some form of collar, like a shock collar or something like that. They would get chained up after every fight as well. They will get chained up, sat down, weapons taken off them. We give you the small modicum of food. Sorry, we give you the small amount of food that we're required to give to you, and we get ready for the next opponent we take. And these poor, souls would be the ones taking in more slaves as well. So you would have a cadre of people that want to be free. So they'd be very, I say selfish, but obviously everybody wants to be free. But they'd be very self-serving, so they wouldn't care about anybody else, and they'd be more than happy to be callous towards other individuals who they would be enslaving as well. The nature of the gang would probably be the worst aspects of what you would see within a slavers guild, where they're just all of these things, all of these people mean nothing to them. They're just more and more a resource for them to plunder, I guess, and for them to take hold of, with the very thin train of hope that they can break away from the Slavers Guild themselves.
It's a bit depressing.
I think I got in trouble a long while ago when we did the Pit Fighters episode, and I talked about my gang idea for the Pit Fighters, and one of our listeners was like, "Yep, really, just killed the mood on that one, didn't you, mate?" I was like,
Really killed the mood on that. That was one of our Gangs of Yesteryear episodes, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was,
Yeah.
and I was made to feel like I've really bringing it down, boys.
Really bringing it down.
Yeah.
Who would have thought a conversation about slavery would be so depressing?
Yeah. And that's why the Iron Guild's better. We had so much fun talking about them.
That was my next question.
I remember that.
So, of the two guilds, what do you think is your favourite?
Iron Guild by a country mile.
Okay. Of all the guilds we've discussed so far, what do you think is your favourite?
The Air Guild.
Good man. Yeah, so of the two of them, I definitely like the Slave Guild more than the Iron Guild because the Slave Guild have a point. But also, god damn, those models. Like, I'm looking at the Chain Lord here. Like, it's nipple rings, a necklace made of skulls, the broken Aquila on the tabard, like, it's just beautiful. The crown that's hammered into the guy's head. He has no neck. Oh, I love it. Well, I think we've got to close it off on that one.
Yeah, we probably need to. Otherwise, we'll talk about the actual benefits of slavery in a modern world, and that's a dark path to take.
Jesus Christ. All right, Scummers. We are going to, as always, close this one off with a quote. And this one here, I believe, comes from a bunch of the rule books, the different publications from throughout Warhammer 40k and the Black Library. But to my mind, it's always been most prevalent from the Dawn of War game series. It is a short, sweet, and I think it's 8 words. The loyal slave learns to love the lash. Bye, Scummers. Oi, Scummers. Spamuel here, and we are going to say thank you once again to each and every one of our Patreon supporters, and in no particular order: Josh Manning, Owen Bebb, Stefan, Heftats, Rick Lovey, Matthew Gennard, Owen Bebb, Nick O. Time, Sam Bridges, Stephen Livingston, or Stefan Livingston, it's spelt with a PH, Draknar, Rob Vanderpost, Post, Fraugenstein, Dewey Sherwood, Peter McGlone, The Elusive Badger, love you buddy, Simon Hansen, Kilgore, CJ McClellan, Kenzie, Mike Wright, Fabio Von Rijn, Fabio, David Lindsay, Mike Bright, Spatreon, Dusty Cousins, Will, DC Liska, Gooka Minis, Yardi, Ian of the Endless, Painting Pyman, Procrastinating Painting, Vermin, Tuka Kaikinen, Family Geek, Dan S, Triple Whammy, Dr. Fishy No, Dean Richards, Matthew Barron, Matt Cook, Josh Penfold, Ashley Kaufman, Ian Sinnott, Everett David Bradshaw, sounds like a professional wrestler, Charles Grant, Guillermo Castaneda, Lord Bobbington, Daniel Smith, Perp, Dean Richards, Ivan Bragg, Matty Pugh, Morskull, Alex Hart, Clayton Curry, Tad Mercer, Philippe Sampson, Wargammer in the Dark, From Somewhere, Alistair Z, The Collective Alfonso the Traitors, Simon Westlake, Chad Buttman, Lloyd Goldsmith, Jonathan Blake, Jordan of Great Scott Hobbies, Hive Builder, Tom Davies, Matthew David, Joe Bates, Stuart Wicks, Martin Moser, Ed Strickland, Mike Stewart, The Whispering Fog, James the Weak, Goran Sandstrom, that's our Viking bard, isn't it? Bo Stephenson, Stephenson, I don't know, PH, Nate M, Mikhail Livis, Karkuna UK, Dan, Josh Reynolds, Brian Byers, The Clown Grinder Cultist, Necro Macho, Samson Kennedy, Kelligator, another Josh Reynolds, Grant Train, Treasy, Sandro Noblich, Dakamatic, Life in the Ruins, Nicole, simple, I like that, Justin Hawkins, Michael Stewart, Patrick Winter, Ballum Malleus, Glenn Wilkinson, Tough, Roger Range, Silent Key, just Daniel. That's his name, just Daniel. Jason, man, these white, like, it's like mononyms like Cher or Madonna or Nathan. Jimmy Marshall, Rob Hacker, Gardner Seekins, Josh Brandfuss, Scott N. Laney, Axel 1313, Eamon, Bo, Eric McKenzie, The Boss Muppet, Tom Hoddle, Brad Gilliand, John Cochran, Sean Leary, Rob Knight, Joe Roberts, Craig Tuff, Jeremy, Kaylin Novak, James W., Vote for Pedro, Chris Vasiliades, Adeptus Aquinas, Damien B. Winterburn, not just Damien Winterburn, Damien B. Winterburn, Jeff Nelson, Christian Jensch, NetSurfer733, Alex, John Basley, Brum, Sean, Dr. Toe, most badass dentist in the whole Underhive, Bearded Dad Studio, Lozd Dog, Adam Kaptarowski, Adam Kaptarowski, 3 Ogres in a Trench Coat, Paul Walsh, Jason Turner, Gabriel Campbell, 50 Shades of Nuln, Amelia Wigg, Amelia Siv, Gilda's Ford Radio, Cygnus Maximus, Damian Davis, Adam James Bruin, Adam Hicks, it's a lot of Adams, Danny Harrison, Chris Batty, Nick, Poseidon's Kiss, Jim Bulb, Luke Dyson, Trent Duncan Jones, Genghis, Parney Mauser, Michael Brown, William Payne, The One Punch Orlock, Joe, Hive Scum Wonka, Pylon, Tim Harrison, Hairy Bob Submariner, Morbid Progeny, Hive Market Minis, love you Matt, Jason Sklina, Alex, 108th, Morja 477, Dave Grant, Alex Adams, Overlord Bleak, Kieran Sweet, Barks, Ryan Taylor, Tired Ape, Hot Shot Grot, David Sodden, Ben Davidson, Jesse Barden, Simon Bzozrowski, Josh Hunt, and William Young. Man, I'm really not looking forward to reading those again. Thank you to each and every one of you from the bottom of our hearts.
my heart anyway. I'm pretty sure Nathan had his replaced with some sort of space Bible.
Thanks, guys. See you next episode.